of you were watching Jesus Conference. If you weren't, you definitely want to go back and watch them, and you want to watch the first one, Daniel Kalenda. He showed us a picture, and how many of you heard of John Chow, the missionary?
I've been doing research.
Now you've been doing research. Is there a lot of you that had not heard of him? He made the news because he was killed. Yeah. Well, Daniel Kalenda actually has the journal entries where he wrote in his journal before he was killed. The tribe that he went to share the gospel with, it's one of the last known tribes that the gospel has not been shared with in the earth. And what Daniel shared that night, the opening night, will really open your eyes. He really has a way that even convicts us as Christians, because some of the Christians, the way we were, some Christians were, oh, you know, John Chow, he shouldn't have gone, and that was dumb, and some of the things even we were saying as Christians. It was amazing. So all you need to do to catch up or watch that is go to YouTube and Jesus Image, and he's the first night. Lori, I know you have children's church. Are you ready to share? Can you share a little bit?
Good morning, everyone. All right, so, man, what an amazing week. I mean, I feel like I got so much from my own personal revelation that I got, but also with the whole Demra family. That was Kirsten's husband, and then his two sisters, his dad and stepmother, and then all of the kids came. And it was just an amazing week. It was really funny because when we first met up at the airport, Kirsten's husband was kind of like, you know, I don't want to be here, you know, I mean, not that anybody here has ever felt like that before a conference, right? We're like, I don't want to, I'm not into this. But anyway, it was just really amazing to watch the Lord move on everyone's heart. This family has been a family that we've been just praying into and sowing into for quite a while. Man, I don't even know where to start. There's like so much history here, but just specifically for the conference, there was at one point, you know, I mean, the Lord was just really moving on everyone's hearts. And Apostle John went out to lunch with Kirsten and Dusty and I, and Kayla from Denver was also with us. And at one point, you know, Apostle John was talking to Dusty about being all in. He's like, you know, what would all in look like for you? And so Dusty gave his answer. And anyway, so Apostle John, you know, I felt the shift go from, you know, into a father mode with him. And I was just like, oh man, Dusty's toast. He doesn't know what's happening to him right now. And this is going to be super exciting. I think it was like a matter of 2 hours. He was all in. It was really awesome. We went back to the conference that night, and Dusty's heart was just completely unlocked. And I mean, unlocked. And he got up and ran forward for an altar call. I don't remember what speaker it was. Ran forward all on his own initiative. And he came back, and I was just kind of like in my own little world. And Kirsten, you know, hit me, and she's like, Lori, look. And Apostle John and Dusty was doing the ugly cry on Apostle John, and then Dusty hugged Kirsten, and then Dusty came over and hugged me and did the ugly cry on me, and it was just really awesome. All of the men, it was, so Molly, who was here last fall as well, her husband and her kids were there, and that was really, really awesome. There was kind of a major thing that had been going on in the family that had been just a point of struggle, that God used the conference and used everybody being together and everybody just deciding that we are all in, no matter what the cost. We're all in. We're moving forward in the Lord. And so all of a sudden, the places where things had been kind of secretive or kind of just, you know, brushed under the carpet or whatever, just all of a sudden was out, and everybody was just like, I just want healing, I want wholeness, I want to walk forward in what God has for us. And so the whole family is all in, and I'm super excited with all of them. One of the things that's really, it's really funny is that, because Dusty at first was kind of like, you know, like, just kind of sitting there with kind of a blank look on his face, I'll put it that way. He, by the end, was like going like, I want the joy of the Lord, I want the joy of the Lord. And when we had come back from lunch, I think that was when Brian Guerin was talking, wasn't it? And so, you know, and you guys all know how Brian Guerin is, you know, he gets up there and all of a sudden he's just like, ooh, that was really rich. And then it turns into the, ooh. And then he gets, you know, the all googly-eyed, cross-eyed kind of thing going on. Well, Dusty, that night, I think he watched that section of Brian Guerin's teaching like 5 times that night. He watched it a bazillion times after that, and I can't even tell you how many times he's watched it now since he's been home. But anyway, so Dusty's like, I want the joy of the Lord, I want the joy of the Lord, I want the joy of the Lord. And then, like, right before Benny Hinn gets up there, and you guys know how Benny Hinn is, how he's like, you know, no moving around, no babies crying, you know, none of that other stuff. And Dusty's like, bah! And he starts getting the joy of the Lord right as Benny Hinn gets up there to teach. And he's like, oh, no, 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 not now, not now, not now. So that was really fun. Let's see, so yeah, the whole joy of the Lord with Dusty, and he's still laughing, which is really incredibly cool. Molly's oldest daughter, Ella, she was kind of uncertain about whether this was a real thing or not, the joy of the Lord, and it hit her, and she was like, she could not stop laughing. I mean, like, and she's like super, super introverted, not one that would like laugh out loud, and she's, oh my gosh, it was just really funny. It was really, really funny. She laughed for over an hour after we left the conference for that afternoon session, and everybody was just like, what is going on? What is your experience? She journaled her experience from what I understand, and anyway, so I can't wait to hear more of the testimony on that one. But what I heard was that they went to Walmart, and she was like, I can't go into Walmart. I can't go to Walmart. And anyway, and so she ends up just like they all went in, left her in the car, and she like passed out at some point. I don't know, but that was really fun. For me, I mean, I was looking through my notes, and I remember at one point during one of the sessions, I think it was Daniel Calenda's, when I was like, oh, I'm gonna write this down, and this is what I'm gonna share when we give testimonies on the next Sunday. And yeah, it's not even important anymore. It was really good though, so just watch that teaching for sure. The thing that was the most life-changing for me, oh my goodness. I don't remember what day it was. I think it was Friday morning. That morning waking up, I had a dream that had with Heidi Baker and Benny Hinn and Michael Koulianos, and Daniel Calenda and Michael Koulianos and Benny Hinn. And there was like a sequence of things, and I was just kind of like really rocked by it. And I'm sitting on the edge of my bed. I'm sharing with Kayla. Kayla and I were roommates in the house. We all had our own house out somewhere, about a half an hour away. And I start sharing with Kayla my dream that I'm having, and just how I'm seeing how the Lord is tying some things together for me, you know, in my life, all the way around. And I don't even know what happened, but the next thing I know, I'm on the floor, on my face, just crying out for Jesus, for more of Jesus, and the revelation I was getting and just what the Lord was showing me and the weight of it was really super intense. And I was like completely in the Lord, and I don't even really know what happened. I know that I showed up at the conference. I know that they finished dressing me. I was already dressed, but they put on like a sweatshirt and stuff like that, and my socks and shoes, because those weren't on. I was just really caught up in the presence of the Lord, and just what He was showing me about kingdom stuff, and it was really, really intense. What was kind of funny about all that, though, is that when we got to the conference, because I'm like, they carried me out, they put me in the van, we drove there, and then they had to come and like kind of help carry me out, and they carried me in, and it was really funny when I got out of the van. Some people were like, "Healed, be healed in Jesus' name, be healed in Jesus' name," and I'm walking like, yeah, whatever, you know. I mean, I could barely walk, and it was really funny. Other people that were recognizing what was going on was just like, "Oh, we want some of that, we want some of that," and people were touching me as they were carrying me in, and it was really intense. It was like the most intense thing I think I've ever had happen. But this whole belly fire and chest fire thing that was going on, guys, like, we need to ask the Lord for that because it's really good. It's really intense. Anyway, yeah, we ended up sitting down, and I remember that when we got into the conference, I sat down, and I think an usher came up and goes, "Is this a medical condition or a spiritual condition?" They're like, "Oh, it's spiritual. It's okay. It's okay." Anyway, so I'm just laying there, and but anyway, maybe someday I'll have an opportunity to share what that encounter was all about. But it was a really super in-depth, deep, revelatory encounter with the Lord that was definitely life-changing. So there's so much more. I know part of the fruit of the time with Apostle John and Prophet Lynn being out there, that in March we have set up a date where the three of us are going to go out and minister with that family up in that whole area where they all live, and that's going to be really exciting and really super powerful. So praying into all that. I got a little belly fire going on right now.
Ready?
Yeah.
So for you that have never experienced that, just explain it like this. The devil counterfeits all of the real. And the way he counterfeits it is by drugs and alcohol. That's all bad. It's all hangovers. It's not the real thing. The real thing is so much better. Hopefully Abby's going to share a little bit what happened to her, because she's usually running around with her phone, and she's usually photographing me and Bella. But guess what? Abby got blitzed.
Oh, can I share one more thing?
Quick.
Just, no, man, wow. So one of the things that was really interesting too, when we got back to the house, after Michael Koulianos was teaching on that last night, was everybody was sharing what they were getting, you know, everybody from Kirsten's family. And Whitney, who's Kirsten's daughter, said that one of the things that stood out to her the most about observing us as a church family is how much we protect each other. And she's like, that was just, the safety in that she felt was really, really awesome. And so she was just like, man, I want a part of this. Like, the family of God, the kingdom family is really important, and it's safe.
I want to remind you, we're going to do announcements real quick, but I want to remind you, Michael and Jessica Koulianos are coming August 2nd, Friday, August 2nd. If you haven't put that in your calendar, put that in your calendar. And we're also working to include Brian Guerin that weekend. So you definitely want to make that weekend, you want to separate that weekend out and not do anything else but come here. Trust me. All right, who's doing announcements?